So now is the time, and the New York Times, oh my goodness, it's a bombshell. It's the walls are closing in. It's the beginning of the end of the Trump campaign. The New York Times set off a bombshell over the weekend and blew themselves up as hoist with their own petard, as they use, as Shakespeare once said, a petard is a little explosion to hoist yourself, a little bomb to hoist yourself with it is to blow yourself up. That's what the New York Times did. They got Trump's tax returns, and I'm sure they got them just now near the election before the debate. I'm sure that's when they came into their hands. They weren't holding on to them, waiting for it or anything like this. So I want to take a look at this story because it really is a self-own of the first water. It's an absolute embarrassment, but the Times is now beyond shame. The Times is a place where they fire you if you allow an op-ed to go into the paper that their 20-year-old staff disagrees with. They don't fire the editor. They fire the little guy that they can go after. They have this huge headline: long concealed records show Trump's chronic losses and years of tax avoidance. Now, first of all, this is a war declared headline. I mean, it's a huge, huge headline. So all kinds of dark innuendo, and really we should play this with what they used to call in the movies danger music. You want danger, dun, 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 dun. So I'll throw that in if I can. But let me read you the way this is written, all right? As the president wages a re-election campaign that polls say he's in danger of losing, his finances are under stress. Beset by losses and hundreds of millions of dollars in debt coming due that he has personally guaranteed. Also hanging over him is a decade-long audit battle with the Internal Revenue Service over the legitimacy of a $72.9 million tax refund that he claimed and received after declaring huge losses. An adverse ruling could cost him more than $100 million. Or nothing. Or he'll get a refund. They've been doing this to him for 10 years. They've had this audit going on for 10 years. The tax returns that Mr. Trump has long fought to keep private tell a story fundamentally different from the one he has sold to the American public. His reports to the IRS portray a businessman who takes in hundreds of millions of dollars a year, yet racks up chronic losses that he aggressively employs to avoid paying taxes. Now, with his financial challenges mounting, the records show that he depends more and more on making money from businesses that put him in potential and often direct conflict of interest with his job as president. But nothing. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's an entirely dishonest piece of garbage. This is a guy, Donald Trump, who paid $70 million in taxes over 2 years, right? Over 2 years. But he has all these businesses and he offsets the profits that he makes with losses on the businesses. This is what these guys do to avoid taxes. They go through the way he does it. A lot of the way he does it had to do with a law that Obama passed during the downturn, during the Great Recession. So he was just using the law that what would a big story look like? What would a big war declared story look like, right? It would look like he broke the law. He did something illegal, right? He took money from Russian spies. Something. The guy instead he uses the law to pay as little taxes as possible. That's really, and they did this back in 2016. The Times ran a story back in 2016. Donald Trump acknowledges not paying federal income taxes for years. He said it himself. So he's making a bundle and he's using the law to not pay as much taxes, to pay as little taxes as he can. I'm not even going to say, it is amazing to me, though. Like, I'm not going to say that Trump is honest. I'm not going to say he's nice. I'm not going to say I would do business. I have no idea. But I will say this. They have hurled everything at him. The FBI has gone after him. The CIA, they've been trying to get at this guy. Every single newspaper, the New York Times, which has certainly the resources to go after him, they got nothing on him. Really, that he's not always nice, that he didn't always treat his wives well. Sure, they got that. But you'd think at this point, this guy would be in prison. I mean, most people, if you investigated them at this level, you would be coming up with stuff because most of us do something along the line, even by mistake, even by accident, but they can't lay a hand on him. So they have to tell you how to respond, right? First of all, they say in response to a letter summarizing the Times findings, Alan Garton, a lawyer for the Trump Organization, said that most, if not all, of the facts appear to be inaccurate and requested the documents on which they were based. The Times declined to provide the records in order to protect its sources. And then Mr. Garton took direct issue only with the amount of taxes Mr. Trump had paid. So he says the thing is false and he paid taxes. Trump says the same thing. But they're going to tell you what this means, okay? Because it says he paid like $750 in taxes, even though, according to the New York Times, a former newspaper, he paid $750 even though he had enough offsets to pay nothing. So he paid this number. So he says, listen to this. They say, Mr. Trump's U.S. payment, after factoring in his losses, was roughly equivalent in dollars, not adjusted for inflation, to another presidential tax bill revealed nearly a half century before. In 1973, the Providence Journal reported that after a charitable deduction for donating his presidential papers, Richard Nixon had paid $792.81 in 1970, an income of about $200,000. The leak of Mr. Nixon's small tax payment caused a precedent-setting uproar. Henceforth, presidents and presidential candidates would make their tax returns available for the American people to see. What has that got to do with Donald Trump? Absolutely nothing. But the message that they're sending you is, ooh, Nixon bad. We were important then. The press mattered then, because this was before we understood what the press was, that it was an agent of the Democrats. They're telling you how to react.